Welcome back. This is part 2 of lesson 3-4, solving multi-step equations. This whole video, part 1 and part 2, should be shown in the same hour. We're now on example number 3 in our notes, which is r plus 8 divided by negative 3 equals negative 2. Remember, we're working backwards. And in working backwards, we undo the last thing, the last operation that we said. So let me read that one more time. R plus 8 divided by negative 3 equals negative 2. So the last thing I read was, last operation I read was divided by negative 3. That means that needs to be the first thing that I undo. The opposite of dividing by negative 3 is to multiply both sides by negative 3. That leaves us with r plus 8 equals negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. That's really easy to solve. The opposite of adding 8 would be to subtract 8. So subtract 8 from the left and from the right for a final answer of, well, we need to figure out what 6 minus 8 is. That should be obvious. You should be able to do that one in your head. But if not, remember your integer rules. Add the opposite. Same signs, add and keep. Different signs, subtract. Different signs here. So subtract 8 minus 6 is 2. Use the sign of the bigger number. 8 was negative. So this is negative 2. 6 minus 8 is negative 2. So we have our solution, and remember we've been checking our answers here to verify that we are correct. So going back to the original problem, r plus 8 divided by negative 3 is supposed to equal negative 2. Let's make that substitution, substituting negative 2 for r to find out if we're right. In the numerator, in the top, negative 2 plus 8, same signs, add and keep, different signs, subtract. Sorry, keep reminding you of that, so it's really important not to forget. Different signs, so we will subtract. 8 minus 2 is 6. Use the sign of the bigger number. 8 was positive, so that should be a positive 6. And then lastly, we need to know, is 6 divided by negative 3 equal to negative 2? And yes, it is. So that proves that our original answer of r is equal to negative 2 is correct. Lastly, number 4, not really lastly, before we get into the next type of questions, I guess you could say, number 4 is 2/3 of a number minus 6 is negative 10. Here we're expected to write out the algebraic equation first. 2/3 of a number means 2/3 times n, or you can use any variable. Minus 6 is negative 10. So now that we have our equation, let's solve it. 2/3 of a number, 2/3 times n, minus 6. We need to get rid of the minus 6 first. The opposite of subtracting 6 is adding 6. That would be 2/3 times n equals whatever negative 10 plus 6 is. Same signs, add and keep, different signs, subtract. So subtract here, 10 minus 6 is 4. Use the sign of the bigger number. 10 is negative, and that would give us a negative 4. Now, 2/3 times n. We talked about this just the other day in the previous lesson. We don't want to undo this by dividing both sides by 2/3. We would simply, because of the fraction, because of multiplying this fraction, we would multiply by the, starts with an r, multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal again being flipped fraction. Multiply both sides by 3/2. Remember, we can place that negative 4 over 1 so that we have a fraction, and fractions are multiplied across in the top and across in the bottom. Negative 4 times 3 would be negative 12. 1 times 2 would be 2. And, as always, with our fractions, we need to see if we can reduce or divide. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. And again, we should double check our answer. We want to know, is 2/3 times negative 6 minus 6. We want to know if that is equal to negative 10. Please take a moment of your time to find out if that is true. Going on to the last two questions. The last two questions are different than the previous. They ask you something very, like I said, different. It's really hard to explain. It says, the problem is, find 3 consecutive integers whose sum is 36. Now we've got to talk about the wording here. Consecutive meaning in a row, like 5, 6, and 7. Integers meaning whole numbers and their opposites. So no decimals, no fractions. The main wording of this, the main thing we need to know is the consecutive part. Again, that's just 3 numbers in a row. And also that these 3 numbers in a row have to have a sum to add up to be 36. Now, I know this could easily become a mental math problem where we're doing trial and error with our calculator. However, since this is an algebra class, we must create some kind of equation using variables. Oh my. So, to begin, 3 consecutive integers. Let's call the first integer, the first number, x. And we're talking about their sum. So let's say the first number is x. We'll say the next number, we can get that next number, the second number, by x plus 1. So we've created some kind of pattern. What do you think we can use to describe the next number? X plus 2. And if we were asked for 4 consecutive integers, the next number could be written as x plus 3, and so on. It's just a pattern. And again, we're talking about the sum here. So sum would mean that we need to take those and add them. The sum here needs to be 36. So once we start to recognize the pattern here, we can create some kind of equation. Because we know a lot about algebra, we know that the next thing we would do in this case is combine like terms. We have x's as like terms, and we also have constants as like terms. So let's combine those. X plus x in the yellow would be 3x. In the teal, the blue, 1 plus 2 would be 3. So really we've created this equation. 3 times x plus 3 equals 36. Now we just simply need to solve that. Based off what we learned today, we know we need to get rid of the addition first, and that would be subtracting 3 from both sides. That gives us 3x equals 33. The opposite of multiplying by 3 would be to divide both sides by 3. That would give us x equals 11. So 11 is not simply the answer. The question asks for 3 consecutive integers. So basically we have found the first integer. The first integer is 11. The next integer came from x plus 1. So 11 plus 1 would be 12. The next integer came from x plus 2. 11 plus 2 would be 13. And again, I know you could have came up with these numbers just from trial and error and typing some things in your calculator. However, it's the equation we're really concerned about here. You can even double check this. Do 11 plus 12 plus 13 to find out if it actually does equal 36. It does. Lastly, number 6. Very similar to number 5. Find 3 consecutive even integers whose sum is negative 42. So we're dealing with the consecutive integer part. But what's different here is the fact that we want these to only be even. So let's think about this. The first integer is x. The second integer will not be x plus 1 because we want an even integer. Really should be x plus 2. And then the next integer, what do you think it's going to be? It's not x plus 3. It should be x plus 4. So the first integer is x. The second is x plus 2. And the third is x plus 4. Their sum should be negative 42. What's interesting again about this is that this little rule for the even integers, it's the exact same setup for an odd integer. Keep that in mind. So just like the previous problem, let's combine like terms. Combine your x's, there are 3 x's. Combine your constants, 2 plus 4 would be 6 equals negative 42. And solve. The opposite of adding 6 would be subtracting 6. That would give us 3x equals negative 48. And lastly, divide by 3. We get x is equal to negative 16. And just again, like the previous problem, that's not our only answer. We were asked for 3 consecutive. So the first answer is negative 16. Then we have the taking that number and adding 2. Negative 16 plus 2 would be negative 14. And then taking that first answer, the negative 16, and adding 4. Negative 16 plus 4 is negative 12. So 3 consecutive in a row even integers that add up to be negative 42 are negative 16, negative 14, and negative 12. I hope you've enjoyed these video lessons. Please remember on the following day that you should look at the following page in Smart Notebook and double-click on the vampire, watch the video, and double-click on the black cat and watch the video as a review. I hope you have a great day. See you later.